And we are live tonight from the Richmond International Raceway for Chase Race number 2 with the Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series. Again, tonight, a little bit different from last week. We got the Dallara Indy cars out on the racetrack tonight, and you guys are checking in right now with the B Main. 6 drivers vying for one final qualifying spot into tonight's feature event later on in the evening alongside Joe Cortez and Alan Larson. My name is Evan Pasoko, guys. It's the second race of the chase after tonight. Only one to go. That's going to be a restrictor plate racetrack, so this is really going to test these guys.
Big major test for each of these drivers here at the Richmond International Raceway. Not a full mile, 3/4 of a mile. It is very quick, very low. Dallara Indy cars, which will make for some very entertaining racing. Now, the way this tonight's race worked, everybody came in to qualify in through at least one chance to qualify in on time. The guy that came in as a top qualifier, he already booked his ticket to the A-Main. We'll see him later on in the show. From the A-Main, 6 drivers came out. From tonight's B-Main, 5 drivers will come in. So this really is a win-at-all-cost race for these drivers who want to make it in. 6 will come in, 5 will come out, and one guy's not going to be left with a dance partner once the music starts playing on the A-Main.
And that's definitely for sure. We also have Alan Larson, up in the broadcast booth, as always, for tonight's race. Very mixing things up here. That's one thing that differentiates Cora from everything else. It is the fact that the different car and track combinations. Last week, we were in those Chevrolet Silverados out at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tonight, again, Indy cars at Richmond. It's really going to throw a curveball. This is the only race in this chase that is not in one of those NASCAR stock cars, being the trucks. So, Alan, just kind of expand on the point that what kind of drivers it takes to really be competitive in this series, and what maybe the mindset is on these 6 drivers going here into the B-Main.
Yeah, they've all said that this is going to be the wild card for them, because it is really a change jumping out of a NASCAR style truck or a Gen 6 car into these Indy cars. And the other difference is the short track format that we're doing tonight with the couple of heats in the B main and the A main. So it all throws a mix into it, and they've all said that they're really going to have to keep it up to stay in the points chase here. So it's going to get quite interesting.
And definitely the time is winding down in the qualifying session. I do believe all drivers have taken their times, and about a second differentiating positions 1 through 5. Joel Wood having some trouble in the qualifying, getting into the wall, so he's going to start at the back of the pack. Not that bad, considering there's only 6 cars that are going to be taken to the grid, but definitely not what he was looking for sure. As the field starts to take to the grid, and we run you through the starting lineup real quick. Again, the Richmond International Raceway, 0.75 miles in length with 4 turns banked at 17 degrees, 8 degrees of banking on the front straightaway, and 2 on the back. The field is hitting that grid. We're going to run you through the starting order. Starting on pole is the number 1 machine of Everett Lane. He's going to be taking the pole, and outside row number 1 is the 70 machine of Lance Mead. Take a look at that second row also. It's the 11 machine of Edward Smith in the 3rd starting position. Outside of him, the outside row 2, it's going to be the 90 of Mark McFadden. Then the back row number 3, the 5th starting position, going to belong to Michael Whitlock in the 28. And then you got to take a look at Joel Wood, again, having trouble in qualifying. So as opposed to starting on the outside of that 3rd lane, he is actually going to go to the 4th row. So in that 6th starting position is going to be Joel Wood in the 79. Not outside of row 3 because of his troubles. So he's going to be actually back there, the only car on the 4th row as well. So 6 cars going to be vying for 1 spot, Joe.
6 cars all vying for 5 spots. It's the last guy that doesn't make it in will be going home. So 5 drivers will make it out of tonight's B main. The last driver on that group of 6 will be the last one who won't make it in. Right now, that's Joel Wood sitting in the catbird seat, the only driver not taking time in this qualifying session. So he's going to have a long way to go when we go to Green Flag Racing in just a lap or so. Everett Lane, Lance Mead, both in excellent positions. All they have to do is cruise around for 40 laps here at Richmond International Raceway to book their ticket in. Yellow flags are on for this B main last chance qualifier heat. So if something does happen on the track, that could effectively end the heat early, as it's one driver they're waiting on to go home and get out of the race.
And definitely got to take a look at the number 79 of Joel Wood again, starting back there in the 6th spot. He had the 4th fastest lap in practice. Now, that's to say that not everybody really got a chance to get some hard laps in there, but he definitely does have a strong car. Remember, he spun out in his qualifying lap, had some trouble tagging the wall, and therefore both of his times were voided. So that's what's putting him back there at the back of the pack now as the field starts to roll off. So he's going to be looking at that car in front of him, the 28 of Michael Whitlock, see if he can get around him. Remember, he only needs to make up one spot, and only one guy out of these 6 cars is going to go home and not make it to the A main. Nobody wants to be that guy. 45 laps. Do they keep them clean? Open wheel race cars on a relatively short racetrack could get kind of interesting here. 45 laps set to go here at the Richmond International Raceway. Down the back straightaway, lights are off, so we're going to be looking for the green flag here when we come back out of 3 and 4. Everett Lane going to be leading us to the green flag as we work into 3.
The one driver that allows a lot riding on this qualifier is Everett Lane. He is one of your chasers, and if he wants to keep his chase streams alive, he has to not only get through this qualifying in with all 4 tires intact on that Indy car, he has to do it in grand fashion, making sure that he makes it all the way through the race. Dale Smalley, Nathan Sedlak, Michael Johnson, Everett Lane, Travis Brown, Dallas Miracle, Jay Anderson, Michael Churchman, Gary Bauer, Joel Wood, Ben Manning, and Galen Kidman. Right now, the class of 2013, and I guess I forgot to mention Joel Wood also has a lot of skin in this race here tonight at Richmond. He's also got to find a way, starting from the very back of this field, to get into the A main. Joel Wood only 54 points behind your leader, Dale Smalley, in the chase standings. So Joel Wood has an opportunity to not only get through this main, but he's got an opportunity to improve his positioning depending on what he does in the A main. Base car goes off, lights are off, it's going to green flag racing. 40 laps around Richmond International Raceway. Everett Lane wastes no time, drops the hammer. We are green flag racing.
The battle is going to go on for the 2nd position, but the 70 of Lance Mead easily going to get that over Edward Smith. So Smith dropping back into 3rd. 4th place, Mark McFadden, and we're side by side for the final transfer spot as Michael Whitlock in the 28 machine is going to get passed by the 79 of Joel Wood. So Joel Wood now, after starting in 6th, he's up in a P5 and now holds on to the final transfer spot going into 1. Closest battle on the racetrack right now is for that 5th spot. Joel Wood, 4 seconds off race leader. Everett Lane right now. Michael Whitlock in the 28 machine is sitting 6th, but he is slowly closing the gap. Wood capitalized on the drop of the green flag to move from 6th to 5th, but Michael Whitlock, it's trouble in front of them. Caution's
Trouble.
Edward Smith is around.
Edward Smith around in front of the 2 guys battling for that transfer position. I'm not sure the yellow came out. It looks like the 11 just locked it up, trying to get into the turn. Not exactly sure how we should approach that, and he is going to go around. Pace car is not out there. No, he's coming out on track now, so we're going to have a first yellow flag of the evening. Edward Smith 1 lap down, and that could put him out of the big show for the night.
That was a very strange incident for sure. We saw him going there into the corner, going into turn 3, taking a look, just got real out of shape and in the wrong gear or something, and that thing just went right around, almost making more contact as another driver was trying to get around him, and that was Michael Whitlock, also along with Joel Wood going by right on the top, nearly getting collected in that as well. So that could have been close for both of those drivers. They made evasive maneuvers to get around that, but you mentioned Edward Smith. When that's all said and done, he's now down to pit lane, but he has lost that lap, which leaves 5 drivers on the lead lap and 5 qualifying positions. So Smith is going to have to hope that some of these guys get into trouble here later on in the going if he wants a shot to get into that A main, because he's now sitting there in P6.
Alan Larson, let's go ahead and ask you real quickly. I know these drivers do have resets available to them on these cars should they get too damaged to compete. How does that work in a B main A main setup?
Not sure what you're asking there, but yeah, these guys do have a couple of resets that they can use to try and make it to the end of this melee, if you want to call it that. But yeah, they've got a couple of resets they can use.
They've got a couple of resets. The question that I guess I was trying to ask, it didn't come out the way it came out. It was formulated in my head. Was if they use both their resets in the B main and then transfer in, have they burned all their resets for the night, or will they also get a couple of resets in the A main as well?
Oh no, they'll also get a couple resets in the A main as well.
So resets aplenty for these drivers, gives them a little opportunity to be a little bit more racy than you would see anywhere else, and could give potentially Edward Smith in the 11 machine some time back on his car. He's one lap down. You saw him spin out and take a little bit of damage on the left side of that Dallara Indy car, so that he might need to use one of his resets now in order to stay viable in this race and get his lap back and compete to stay in the show.
And definitely, so something to keep an eye on, only with 6 cars in here. Top 5 getting to that A main. Having trouble early in the going, that is Edward Smith in the 11 after spinning going into 3 in the opening laps, which has us under our first caution flag of the night as the field continues to pace around the Richmond International Raceway. 5 cars on the lead lap, that is Everett Lane, Lance Mead, Mark McFadden, Joel Wood, and Michael Whitlock, the top 5 right now. Taking a look, if you joined us last week, that was a wild one, to say the least. We were at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in the trucks. Nathan Sedlak taking home the W in his first win on this season. Very good job by him, but we saw some guys there sitting about 2nd and 3rd in the championship standings, looking to make a move on Dale Smalley, as Smalley was caught back in a pack, and then the leaders ended up getting into the wall, getting collected with each other, and when it's all said and done, Dale Smalley currently your points leader as of now, 3 points over Nathan Sedlak in the 2nd position for that chase for the championship. You mentioned Joel Wood in here. He is up there in the championship standings in that chase along with Everett Lane. So those 2 guys really want to secure their way in. We are doubled up, so we're going to be looking for the green flag here shortly.
Everett Lane, Lance Mead will be on the front row. Mark McFadden, Joel Wood, Michael Whitlock, Edward Smith, your 6 drivers all vying for 5 spots, for 5 opportunities to cash in on the big payday in the A main. When we go to green flag racing, it'll be 36 laps left in this B main feature before we go to the A main. And right now, all eyes on Everett Lane and, more importantly, Michael Whitlock. They've got a lap on Edward Smith in the 11 machine. Can they hold on to it? Pace car is off. Everett Lane looking for the flag. Green flag flies, and on scoring lap number 10, we are back to green flag racing. Everett Lane, now Mark McFadden and Lance Mead battling side by side. That will be for position number 2. The 70 has a run on the outside. He's going to continue holding on. The 79 now passing the 190 of Mark McFadden. Joel Wood in the 79 gets a position on Mark McFadden. Mark McFadden drops from 2nd to 4th, but I think it's less of a concern because he's already, as it stands right now, into the show.
He was stuck there on the inside lane on that restart, just could not get going, and allowing both the 70 of Lance Mead and the 79 of Joel Wood to get around him on that outside lane. Now things starting to single file out for our leaders. Everett Lane getting that jump on the restart, currently holding about a 1/6 of a 10-second lead over Lance Mead in the 70 machine, now in 2nd place. Obviously the 90 of McFadden has dropped from 2nd to 4th right now, and then Michael Whitlock, last car on the lead lap, is about 2.5 seconds back of Lane in that number 5 spot. The closest battle on the racetrack right now is between 3rd and 4th positions. Joel Wood and Mark McFadden about half of a second separated between each other, and it looks like the 90 machine slowly trying to close in, running a little bit of a higher lane in the corners, maybe trying to pick up P3 here soon.
Trying to pick up P3, or at least start to threaten for it, as McFadden starting to try to climb back around to get near Joel Wood in the 79 machine. Joel Wood, though, starting to widen the gap, 0.6 of a second that time by, and you see more Joel Wood in the 79 machine running an incredibly high line around this Richmond International Speedway. Last time around, it was half a second between Joel Wood and Mark McFadden. McFadden, though, will not surrender out here. He will continue to run as hard as he can. It'll be 30 to go when we cross the start-finish line once again. Everett Lane, Lance Mead, 0.8 of a second between Everett Lane and Lance Mead. Now the gap closes between Joel Wood and Mark McFadden. McFadden looking for the run. He's got it. McFadden move him up to position number 3. Joel Wood drops back to position number 4, and like sharks in a piranha, or like a blood in a piranha tank, the 28 of Michael Whitlock smells it, and he is coming in for the kill. He wants to get around Joel Wood. Joel Wood, though, still in good position as he's got a lap over Edward Smith.
And we saw Mike McFadden there in the 90 machine when he was sitting 4, trying to work up on Wood. Now Wood is a little bit slow there, coming by the start-finish line, and Michael Whitlock is there now in the 28 machine, side by side, going into 1. The 79 is going to move up, and the 98 of Whitlock's going to go around him as well. So Joel Wood dropping now back to position number 5, but still secure for him because he is still locked in at this point, as everybody here has a lap on Edward Smith in the 11 machine, so not looking good for him, as with only 5 cars on the lead lap, really going to be battling each other and not battling each other too hard because there's no transfer spots to go and not share between those guys. The chance of a caution here coming out is not too high. Of course, we can see a solo spin, but the 11 of Edward Smith not liking what he sees right now was race leader Everett Lane, and the number 1 machine sitting P1 now has a 1 second lead over Lance Mead in second.
20 laps to go when Everett Lane crosses the start-finish line. Everett Lane back in front. Lance Mead second. Mark McFadden third. Michael Whitlock fourth. Joel Wood cruising around in position number 5. And Edward Smith in the 11 machine. He continues to run 1 lap down on the field. He's going to need a little bit of help from your leaders in order to get back on the lead lap and be competitive for that final transfer spot. Edward Smith is going to need a hand to get out there and get back in the race because he is 1 lap down. He needs one of those guys in front to self-spin, to blow a tire, to blow an engine. Something crazy needs to happen to help the case for the 11 machine as they run right now. Very competitive times around this field. Everett Lane checking out on this entire company. Almost 2 seconds, 1.2 right now for Everett Lane over Lance Mead, and the rest of the field starting to split out accordingly. Lance Mead, again, almost 1.2 seconds away. Mark McFadden over 2 seconds away from your leader. Michael Whitlock over 3 seconds away, and Joel Wood in another time zone from your leader, Everett Lane. The best thing that could happen to Edward Smith right now is having Everett Lane pass Joel Wood and get Joel Wood 1 lap down.
Hey guys, so I'm watching the 79 here, man. He's having a hell of a time. He must be having some handling issues because he's all over the track. He's sideways off about almost every corner.
And we saw him, he got close to the wall there coming off the corner exit. Remember, Joel Wood took to the grid, position number 6 now. Is trouble on the racetrack. They're wrecking on the front straightaway. The caution flag is not out yet, but the 28 of Michael Whitlock, now the caution flag flies. It's heavy contact between Whitlock, and I do believe that was Lance Mead. Lance Mead self-spinning off of 4. Whitlock is in it. And now the picture changes again as we're under the caution flag after the halfway point at Richmond.
25 laps left to go when all that happened. Lance Mead taking the brunt of it. If we can get the replay on that number 70 machine real quick, you can see the 70 just did not handle very well. Coming off the low side of the turn, started self-spinning. You see it on the replay now. Self-spinning, gets straight into the trajectory of the 28 machine of Michael Whitlock. Michael Whitlock nowhere to go, but directly into the 70 machine of Lance Mead. Lance Mead will have to use one of his resets to get competitive and get back on the track out there, and this could be a boon for Edward Smith, as now he might have an opportunity to battle his way into the main event. Joel Wood, a big benefactor of that incident as well. He will move from the back of the field all the way up to position number 2.
Something's not 100%, however, with the 79 machine of Joel Wood obviously racing his way into this through the 3 qualifying events that Cora has throughout the week on the iRacing service. Remember, he started 6th in the 4th lane because he did not complete his qualifying laps because he spun out, and then Alan told us that we've seen that car sideways off the corner, and he was about 7 seconds behind the race leader. So the 79 of Joel Wood is still searching. Maybe he didn't get the setup loaded up or something on that, but the 79 machine of Joel Wood continuing the search for the speed that he wants. He should be able to get into this A main if he can keep that nose clean and the rest of the race car pointed the right direction here for the remainder of this thing. But he still needs to find the speed if he wants to be competitive. When we get there is now Edward Smith in the 11, who went 1 lap down. He now finds himself sitting P5 on the inside now of that top 5, and Lance Mead in the 70 is now in that 6th position, 2 laps down.
Well, I believe Edward Smith will get his lap back on this caution, so he'll be back in the catbird seat, and Lance Mead will be the one that on the outside looking in.
And Lance Mead being 2 laps down, that might mean the end of his run. Edward Smith got the help he needed. He should get the Lucky Dog Award, and he should go past and get his lap back this time around. With Lance Mead 2 laps down, he would need to have at least 2 non-cause cautions, Alan, in order to get back on the lead lap and get back into competitive running with the rest of this group.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. 2 cautions. I mean, we went almost half the race with 2 cautions, and I guess it's a little bit possible, but I just don't see it happen.
Now, obviously, for Joel Wood and Everett Lane, a lot more on the line than just the $50 payday that comes with winning the A-featured night at Richmond International Raceway. Both those drivers in the competition for the chase this year, and if they win, they're looking at a much bigger payday than just $50 for winning the A-Main.
Yeah, definitely up there in the chase. We're paying out the top three in the championship this season too, so we kind of got that to think about. Hey, while I'm thinking about it, we need to send out thoughts and prayers to Gordon Berkey. His mom is under the weather, and I guess he couldn't be here tonight because he had to take her into the hospital. So just want to let him know that we're thinking about him.
Certainly the thoughts and prayers of the entire LSR TV team going out to Gordon Berkey tonight. Berkey is sponsoring tonight's race. I believe it's Berkey Painting and Sandblasting to sponsoring tonight's race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Berkey Painting and Sandblasting bringing you tonight's race here live on LSR TV. And we certainly appreciate their sponsorship. And again, our thoughts and prayers with the Berkey family tonight as Gordon Berkey, one of your vice presidents here, not able to make it due to extenuating circumstances. Half lap left to go. Lights are off. Everett Lane, Mark McFadden, Joel Wood, Edward Smith, Michael Whitlock, all in competition form. Green flag flies, and they are back to racing on lap 32. 14 laps to go.
Joel Wood sitting there in the second spot. The number 79 machine gets real loose onto the apron through 1 and 2. He keeps it pointed forward the right way, but now the 90 of Mark McFadden going to go around him. Wood's going to wave him on by because he does not want to battle for that spot. He just wants to get into the A-main. Meanwhile, Edward Smith in the 11 machine, he now finds himself P4 after getting waved around back to the lead laps. For the fifth place cars, the 28 of Michael Whitlock, he's 1 lap down. And then again, the 70 of Lance Mead, 2 laps down in the 6th position. Something we did happen to those guys to mix this thing up, but Everett Lane still the class of the field of the number 1 machine, already up to a 1.2 second lead over McFadden in second.
Make that a 1.4 second lead as he crosses the start-finish line at this very small oval. It's only 3/4 of a mile around Richmond International Raceway, but the high banking makes it a very quick place to do racing. 11 laps to go at this juncture. Everett Lane continues to extend his lead. Closest battle right now on the field has been between second and third, as 4/10 of a second separate Mark McFadden and Joel Wood in the 79 machine. You watch the 79 machine now. He still looks like he's not entirely comfortable with the setup, but at least he's able to be in competitive form and potentially improve his position in the championship standings tonight in the chase. As time continues to tick off, last man on the field that would be in is Michael Whitlock in the 28 machine. He scored 1 lap down right now as he was given the penalty for being involved in the incident. Lance Mead in the 70 machine, still 2 laps down, and now it's Lance Mead looking for a little help from somebody. If a yellow flag comes out, he could potentially get some help in getting back up front, getting some of his laps back, but it may not happen if Everett Lane continues to run so strong on this field.
And definitely his lead again now up to 1.4 seconds over the 90 machine in second. This time by the stripe, he's going to come to take lap number 39 of 45 at the Richmond International Raceway. You mentioned 3/4 of a mile in length, with lap times just hovering above 16 seconds. Not a lot of time, and with no green, white checkers on the iRacing service. A caution flag would end this thing, so Lance Mead really needs someone to have some trouble here soon, but it looks like these top 5 are going to lock it up. They just need to make it around this a couple more circuits. They're going to find themselves in the A-main as he continues to be the class of the field. It is Everett Lane, Mark McFadden, Joel Wood, Edward Smith, and Michael Whitlock right now, your top 5.
Everett Lane seems to have a great handle on this setup in this IndyCar, and he really knows how to get it going. 5 laps left to go. If we have a retiree, now the top 5 would be locked in. If we have a retiree with 2 to go, it still could be anybody's race to get back in, and it still could give Lance Mead a chance to get back in. If a yellow flag happens with about 4 or 5 to go, that would end the B-main as well, and top 5 would be locked in as they run, but it may not happen. It may not have time to happen as Everett Lane continues to turn in 16-second laps around Richmond International Raceway. This time he crosses the stripe. It's going to be 2 or 3 to go at this juncture on lap 43. Everett Lane 1 second away from Mark McFadden. Can he be stopped, or is Mark McFadden going to save the best for last?
McFadden within 1 second. Does he have enough time? Popsicle sticks in the air for Everett Lane at the number 1 spot. 2 laps to go. The scoring's been updated, and it's still a second for the 90 of Mark McFadden. Taking a look through the field, everybody is still pointing the right direction as Lane, going through 3 and 4 now, is going to come off the corner. No caution flag in sight, and the white flag is out. One more circuit for him, and Michael Whitlock needs to get around one more time to hang on to the final transfer spot. Everett D. Lane, the number one machine, after qualifying on the pole, has dominated this whole race and is going to work off turn number 4 and take home the win in the B main here tonight. Mark McFadden going to come home in the second position. Joel Wood third, Edward Smith fourth, and Michael Whitlock going to come home now, going through 3 and 4 to hang on to the 5th spot and transfer to the A main.
So Everett Lane will transfer in. Mark McFadden, Joel Wood, Edward Smith, and Michael Whitlock will round out your field of 18 drivers in the A main. Coming up in just moments, the second half of the Berkey Painting and Sandblasting 135 at Richmond. Coming up next, when we come back, we will go straight to trackside for your pre-race ceremonies and get ready to go racing here at Richmond International Raceway. Stay tuned, race fans. We'll be back after this.
It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 in the checkered flag. He wins his first NASCAR iRacing.
No, that
135 miles to be had here around Richmond International Raceway. 90 laps around will make for some very entertaining racing as we go. As we get ready to go, green flag racing in the Berkey Painting and Sandblasting 135 at Richmond, part of the Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series. Welcome back, race fans. Joe Cortez, Evan Pisoko, and Alan Larson joining you live from the booth here. And Alan, it's going to be a lot of fun watching these guys race these Indy cars around this very short Richmond International Raceway. Alan Larson must have tripped over his cord there. We'll get him back plugged in just a moment. Happy hour running here at Richmond International Raceway, and Evan Pisoko's caught up with a couple of our drivers, including our winner from the last race, Everett Lane.
And that's right, we've caught up with him down here on the pit lane. You're getting ready for the A main. You had a dominating car there in the B main. First of all, congrats on that victory. Real quick, talk us through that short race there.
Just struggled in the first qualifier over there. The B main got out on the pole, so I got some good starts there. Got out front, try to keep my car clean. These things are really fast. They get really loose real easy. You touch that yellow line, it's a handful. These things are like little rockets, and you got to be on your toes with these things.
And now looking forward to tonight's race. Entering tonight, you're tied for third in the championship standings with Michael Johnson. Both 27 points back from Dale Smalling, showing us the dominating performance that you just had. What kind of confidence do you have coming into tonight's race, maybe putting down a solid qualifying lap, making up some points, and then being right there by the time we go to next week and hunt for that title?
Yeah, Mike Johnson's a good driver. He's a team racer of mine. It's going to be very interesting in this main. We'll try to keep the tires on the asphalt and keep the nose clean and see what we can do here to get it up front and stay clean and have a good finish for this point chase. It feels really good to be in third place in the points, tied with my teammate. We're trying to chase down Dale, but it's going to be an interesting night, that's for sure.
And if hey, good luck and put on a solid performance.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for everything you do.
We also have with me the driver, the number 04 machine, Galen Gidman. Galen, coming into tonight, you're 12th in the championship standings at the back of those chase points, but you're only 14 points away from a solid top 10 finish, and after only one race, we still have 2 to go. You can easily contend and try to improve your position. What is your confidence coming into tonight's race with these Indy cars on a short track like the Richmond International Raceway?
Well, I'm confident it's going to be an exciting race. That's what I'm confident in. It's these are really hard to drive here. It's a lot of car and not much track. So we'll see how it works out. I know I've got good teammates that have put in a lot of work this week and given me some good sets, and we're just going to go out there and get the best finish we can.
And definitely, well, you got to take a look at the number of laps on the board for this race. 90 laps until we see that checkered flag here at the end of the night. What kind of strategy is it going to take? You maybe have to lay off a little bit and let people go by you early in the going, because things can get pretty close here with these open wheel cars.
No, yeah, for sure. I think your strategy really just depends on how you qualify. I think if you're up front, you're going to be with good drivers, and you can afford to stick around and you race for it a little bit. But I think if you're in the back, 90 laps is not a long time, but I think we're going to have a lot of laps under caution tonight. So it may be longer than most people think, and I think you can lay around for a while and still get a good finish by the time it's all said and done.
And definitely, well, the drivers are going to be called to their cars here soon for qualifying. Any shout-outs you want to throw out there before we go green?
Yeah, for sure. I want to thank Nathan and Ross and Ben, my teammates. Nathan won last week, and a car we all worked on, and that was a pretty cool thing for us, our first win as a team. And we were all rooting for him in the championship, and just hope we all have a good night. Thank you to Cora, too.
And definitely, well, good luck in tonight's race. We'll be looking for that 04 up front.
All right, I'll be too. Thank you, Evan.
Joe, that does it down here from pit road. We're about getting ready to go qualifying.
1 minute to go before all these drivers will make their qualifying attempts around Richmond International Raceway. Again, very short little circuit here tonight. A little quad oval, I should say, around Richmond International Speedway. 90 laps, 135 miles for tonight's race. And Alan, this is really going to be a very entertaining race and kind of a special race, because this is the last one where we're going to see Cora go from different track every single week, every single Sunday money race to the fixed to the fixed schedule you'll have next year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a special event, but really looking forward to this week. But the race I'm really looking forward to is next week. We're taking the trucks to Talladega, and I'm actually going to be in the field next week, so keep an eye out for that 24 truck.
Now, Ellen, we have the trucks at Talladega for the Border Wars, which is a special event you saw here on LSR TV. We know that these guys can run this trucks incredibly competitively, and I've got a feeling that in 1 week's time for the Sunday Money Series finale, we're going to see some real incredible racing from all the drivers out there on track.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a tough race. It's going to be competitive. There ain't no doubt about that. And you're definitely going to want to tune in next week because it's going to be a barn burn.
That's the Barks Competition Karting Talladega 101 in the trucks on December 15th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. You won't want to miss it live here on LSR TV. Qualifying going on right now. And Evan, we saw each of these guys have a different strategy. The B main was kind of an indicator of what we were looking at and how everything was coming together. Tonight, I think qualifying is going to be very critical to not only where these guys start, but how they run through this field.
Yeah, definitely. There's going to be a lot more race cars on the track right now. About 16 drivers have taken their time, still more to do so as they go through their qualifying session right now. We saw a race with 6 people, and things got spread out pretty quickly, and we didn't really see any challenging for the lead. The way that the transfer spot worked with the lap differential, nobody was really racing each other hard. When this thing comes down to it, with these open-wheel race cars on a tight track like this Richmond International Raceway, it'll be interesting to see what happens here when we go down to that checkered flag.
Preliminarily speaking, Everett Lane, who won the B-Main qualifier just a moment ago, he is going to be starting on the pole. Dallas Miracle, who's already won 3 races in the Sunday Money Series, right now slated to start second. Nathan Sedlak, Gary Bauer, Ryan Borges rounding out the preliminary top 5, but still plenty of time in this qualifying session. 10 minutes to get your lap done here at Richmond International Raceway, and a lot of guys still waiting. We're waiting on to take time. A lot of your top tier drivers, your chase drivers, have not taken time yet.
Yeah, definitely. They haven't, but the first 5 minutes or so, I do believe, to actually get their laps in, and then the drivers they have a drivers meeting. But definitely, they got 10 minutes. They could be waiting, seeing what's going on as the amount of drivers that have taken the qualifying time is extended to 17. Or are they going to hang back at the back of the field and try to do something like that? We talked to some drivers there. Galen Gidman said that you'll be able to hang around at the back, play it safe, and then at the end still be able to pick up a number of positions and get a solid finish. So who knows what's going down there in their camps.
90 laps are going to go by very, very quickly. 135 miles will go by in a blink of an eye, considering they can turn 3 laps in the course of a minute. And multiply that by 90, and we're not talking about a very quick race, Evan. It's going to mean these guys have to figure out what they want to do and figure out how they want to do it in a hurry here at Richmond.
And definitely, for sure, you got to take a look at the amount of competition in here again. Everett Lane, he won the B main, comes in here, and he's currently sitting on a provisional pole out of all these guys that got in there without having to enter that race. So that really shows you how strong. I'm just really interested to see how these restarts will go. Again, this track 3/4 of a mile, you mentioned not a lot of space, and touching wheels is not the same here as opposed to maybe beating and banging and trading some sheet metal with a stock car on this racetrack for sure. So you just got to keep that nose clean and be there at the end if you want to compete when it's all said and done.
Open wheel racing does present a very unique challenge to these drivers, one they have not seen in the chase, and the only time we will see open wheels being part of the chase. Qualifying coming to an end officially. Everett Lane, Dallas Miracle, Nathan Sedlak, Gary Bauer, and Ryan Borges rounding out your top 5 on this field. Pole sitter now on the pole, Everett Lane, waiting for Dallas Miracle to join him on row number 1. Let's go ahead and start going down tonight's starting lineup presented by Berkey Painting and Sandblasting. It is the Berkey Painting and Sandblasting 135 at Richmond, presented by Championship Online Racing Association. Find out more at Cora-Racing.com. Cora-Racing.com, your home for the Championship Online Racing Association. Tonight's race part of the Sunday Money Series. Multiple times to qualify in through the week. What top 10 get paid out, plus a couple other bonuses through the field. Find out more about that at Cora Racing, Cora-Racing.com. Everett Lane, Dallas Miracle, both chase drivers, both can be starting on the top of the field tonight. A lot of other talented drivers behind him. Last week's winner, Nathan Sedlak, in the top 5. In the top 10, you have other great drivers like Ben Manning, Michael Johnson, one of your chasers, Sal Accardi, who's been a regular here. Looking down through the top 15, Dale Smalley, your points leader, will restart 12th, and Michael Church was starting at the very back of the field. Let's go ahead and take you down tonight's qualifying order. Everett Lane on the pole in row number 1. He turned in a qualifying time of 15.911 seconds. On the outside of him, the guy who was your points leader, 3 wins on the season, Dallas Miracle, in the 48 machine, starts second.
Take a look at row number 2 behind them. Third starting position belonging to none other than the driver of the 35 machine. That is Nathan Sedlak, winner from last week. Gary Bauer in the 07 starting P4.
Ryan Borges in the 32 machine will start in the inside of row number 3. Outside of him, the 33 of Travis Brown starting 6th.
Throw the 67 of Ben Manning in there, starting P7 on the inside of row number 4, and a chase contender, the 78 of Michael Johnson, starting 8th.
Rounding out the top 10 in row number 5, Sal Accardi in the 39 machine rolls off in the 9th position. Outside of him, Ross Cato in the 30, starts 10th.
Row 6, just outside the top 10, the 11th starting position is the 79 machine of Joel Wood, and Dale Smalley in the 69, taken to the grid P12.
Galen Gidman in row number 7 starts in the 04 machine. He's 12th in the chase right now. Jay Anderson in the 18 machine starts 14th.
15th starting position belonging to the driver of the 90. That's Mark McFadden, and the 28 of Michael Whitlock starting 16th.
Edward Smith finds a way to qualify in from the B main qualifier. He will start on the last row of this field. Michael Churchma, another one of your chasers, currently 8th in the chase. He will start all shotgun on this field. That rounds out your field of 18 drivers tonight here at Richmond International Raceway. Tough to qualify in, but it's going to be even tougher to walk away with the $50 for the winner. They cross the line one more time. Lights are off. One more to go before we go. Green flag racing for the Berkey Painting and Sandblasting 135 at Richmond International Raceway. Alan, lots of exciting driving going on tonight. Who are you watching for?
Well, I finding it a little bit kind of interesting that Michael Churchman is starting shotgun on the field, because he was our fast qualifier out of the qualifier to go directly to the A main, and then he chooses not to qualify for the A main. So that I find that a little interesting. I don't know. This is a wild card. It's anybody's race.
It's going to be anybody's race, and it's going to make for some very entertaining racing as they get ready to cross the line. Pace cars in. Everett Lane, your top qualifier in the B main, trying to do it again here at the A main. Green flag flies, and one of 90 laps already taking place. Number 48 of Dallas Miracle does not get the start he wants. Spins the tires a little bit. He will drop from 2nd to 3rd as the 35 machine. No, Dallas Miracle now getting a second win. Nathan Sedlak in the 35, forced to drop behind him. Single file racing throughout the field now. Closest balance between the 79 of Joel Wood and the 30 of Ross Cato, as behind him the 04 of Galen Gidman and the 18 machine of Jay Anderson, trying to figure out where they're going to go. Dale Smalley in the 69 behind that group, keeping an eye on where all of this falls out.
Nathan Sedlak in the 35 machine going to get around, or rather the 07 of Gary Bauer getting around Nathan Sedlak for position number 3 after Sedlak kind of lost the handle on that thing out of 4, pushed up the hill and was able to hang on to that. But Dallas Miracle in the 48 sitting P2 had a big wiggle there when we came to the green flag, was able to hang on to that thing. These Indy cars are so sensitive getting up through the gears there in those first 1, 2, and 3 gears. Almost got a short shift if you want to avoid that wheel spin or start in second gear with these things. You got to start in first if you want to be competitive, and that's what causes that. And thankfully they were able to keep them off each other, but the battle is on up front. Dallas Miracle to the inside of Everett Lane in 1.
Dallas Miracle to the outside. Everett Lane doing everything he can to hold off. He's not able to do it. It'll be Dallas Miracle getting the position on the back straightaway in turns 3 and 4, leaving no doubt. Dallas Miracle leads his first lap. Caution on the field for the first time tonight, and I'm trying to figure out where exactly that's originating from.
Taking a look, the caution flag is out, so we're going to slow him down here. and group them back up as trouble on the racetrack. Finding some drivers going to put us under an early caution, just like we saw in that B main. Still trying to take a look on the cause of that caution, but nonetheless the caution is out. The number 79 of Joel Wood, looking like he had some trouble coming up after the corner. Remember we talked about him trying to find the handle on his car, just lost it coming out of 2, got those left side tires on the yellow line, spun it around, didn't get hit by anybody, and kept on rolling, but we're under the yellow flag.
So Joel Wood, a self-spin to start the night. He will be credited with caution and will be at the end of the longest line as a result of that incident. We saw Joel Wood struggle early a little bit in the B main as well. Joel Wood, one of your chasers, he might have to try to figure out what he can do to get that car running the way he wants. Down on pit road, the 90 machine of Mark McFadden. He's going to come to the attention of his crew now, and that might be an early strategy maneuver for the 90 team as they start to figure out what they need to do to start climbing through this field.
And definitely, we were talking about some of these drivers high up in the championship standings not electing to take a qualifying time and starting back in the field. One driver, again, Michael Churchman, he did that. He is back there, 69. Dale Smalley, points leader, sitting there right now, 14th. A lot of those guys did not take a time. You have to think maybe they were trying to stay out of that chaos up front by the tire spin that we saw from Miracle. It was looking like it was going to be a smart move on their part. However, they're up here now in traffic and sitting around 12th place, so it's not like they're hanging back at the back, but even if they were, if a wreck happens in front of them, you got a concrete wall on your right and left-hand side. Really not a lot of places to go. I think you just got to kind of hang in there in traffic and hope for the best.
Now, just because this is one of the chase races for the Cora Sunday Money Series doesn't mean that Sunday Money rules have been suspended. Alan, the winner of tonight's race, will walk away with an easy $50. That's just, nothing to sneeze at for a couple hours of work.
Absolutely not. Not only will the leader get 50, but we pay all the way out through the top 10. And plus we give the pole sitter a bonus and the safest driver a bonus. There's all kinds of money being thrown around out here tonight.
The safest driver gets a bonus, the pole sitter gets a bonus, and I also believe, if memory serves me correctly, there's also a lottery draw at the end of the race as well.
Well, what we do is we draw a number before qualifying, and just say we draw the number 17. Well, then the driver that qualified 17th and the driver that finished the 17th also get $5 as well. So
$5 enough to cover your fees here in the Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series, which, for a couple of days, for a little bit of work, not a bad way to go out. Come in, pay your way in, and end up paying your way out as a result of good driving and good qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what makes us unique, I think. It's a really fun format.
Now, this season coming to a close in 1 week's time when we go to Talladega for the Barks Competition Karting 101, but another season getting ready to happen next year.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're going to do it a little different next season as far as, the tracks and the cars that we're going to. We're going to do it in groups. We're taking the trucks to 4 tracks, and then the Impella Class B to 4 tracks, and then the IndyCar to 4 tracks, and then the Gen 6 to 4 tracks. So, and then we're going to mix up the cars in the last 4 races. We're doing the IndyCar won't be in the chase next season.
You heard it here first. No IndyCars in the chase. Let's enjoy them while we got them. Dallas Miracles restarts in front. Everett Lane on the outside of him. Gary Bauer, Nathan Sedlak behind them. Row number 3, Salacardi, Ben Manning, Michael Johnson, Travis Brown, Ross Cato, Ryan Borges, your top 10 as the pace car makes its way down pit road. Dallas Miracle once again gets the jump. We're back to green flag racing on lap number 11. 80 to go. Miracle in control of the field once again. Gary Bauer now in second. Battling for third is Everett Lane trying to hold off Salacardi and Nathan Sedlak.
Akari's going to sneak on into line there for that spot. He has the 35 of Sedlak right behind him, and then they also have Everett Lane in front of them as now Gary Bauer on the 07 machine sitting in the second place. The 39 of Salacardi on the back bumper of Lane coming down the back straightaway, but a car length separate those two. The battle for the top 3 going on. The 39 rides a little bit higher up through 3 and 4, and via the stripe still a solid lead for Lane, hanging on to the 3rd spot, but this battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th is the closest on the racetrack right now, coming off 2, and now slow by Lane, and now we're side by side into 3.
Side by side into 3 as Nathan Sedlak watching Salacardi go high. The 35 machine gets the position on the inside. Salicardi nowhere to go and backwards. Nathan Sedlak going to take away his position in turns number 1 and 2. Not so fast. The 39 finds the second win. 39 pulls ahead. Salicardi gets back his position. He will stay in 4th. Nathan Sedlak now in 5th. And Michael Johnson in the 78 machine. He's got to figure out if he can get into the top 5 for the first time tonight. It is a big paid out differential between the top 5 and the top 10.
And definitely Sedlak into 35. We heard, we talked to Everett Lane. He said that these cars are real loose. We saw Sedlak side by side with Accardi on the inside. And the thing just got sideways. A good job by the driver of the 35 to hang on to it. Accardi now able to hang on to 4th. And that's why we see Sedlak back here in the 5th spot with Michael Johnson. Just about maybe 4 or 5 car lengths off of his back bumper. Dallas Miracle in the 48, current race leader, has checked out now with an 8/10 of a second lead over Gary Bauer. And then it's about 2 seconds back to the 3rd place car, Everett Lane, who is now under attack with the 39 of Salicardi closing in 3 and 4.
Closing in 3 and 4. So got some problems now towards the back of the field. The 88 of Michael Churchma making contact with the driver in front of him. That was the 30 of Ross Cato, opening the doors that go 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. Dale Smalley, the big benefactor out of that. He will pick up some position now going into 3 and 4. Galen Gidman, the 04 machine, gives up position, as well as the number 88 of Michael Churchman. He gives up position to the 18 of Jay Anderson. Dale Smalley, who doesn't seem to have a whole lot of sense of urgency in tonight's race, happy to run around in the 11th position, but if they continue to make mistakes around your points leader, I think the urgency is going to pick up in a hurry.
Down here at the back of the pack, Michael Whitlock in the 28 machine 18th got sideways and allowed Joe Wood and Mark McFadden to get around him. Also Salicardi now in the 3rd spot.
Trouble. The number 1 of Everett Lane in the wall. The car is crab walking hard. The number 1 machine of Everett Lane in trouble. Caution flag is out on the field. Everett Lane, who was sitting 2nd, major damage for his car. He needs a reset, and he needs it now.
He was battling for the top position, or one of the top positions, the 35 of Nathan Sedlak on his inside lane, and the 35 went up, Everett Lane came down, and again, open wheel cars. The slightest bit of contact between those two drivers sent the number 1 of Lane into the outside wall. Hard contact, and luckily did not get nailed by any other drivers. But after having such a dominating car, he's down pit lane. He's going to get his quick fix, but sitting 27 points back on Dale Smalley, now finding himself a lap down early in the going. Tough break for the 1.
Everett Lane, who had such a great qualifying time and won the B main, now going to have to find a way to get his lap back after that heavy damage as a result of the contact on lap number 20. Everett Lane back on track. He's a 1 lap down, and he's going to be probably at the very end of the longest line out there, so he's going to have to figure out what he needs to do to get back around. Michael Whitlock down on pit road now. Michael Churchman down and away. Mark McFadden once again back down and away on pit road. Each of those drivers coming to the attention of their crew. And Alan, let's talk a little bit about the setup tonight here. We've seen guys come down pit road, but is it possible to go out and finish this race without making a pit stop?
And definitely, so race officials going to throw the caution for this incident. We know, Joe, that the iRacing service is very particular when those caution flags fly. Sometimes questionable if it comes out or not, so very interesting on that part. But Everett Lane into the outside wall in front of the field, so the race officials getting that caution flag out to ensure that. So that's why I'm running the caution flag again. But Everett Lane, he's on the outside looking in tonight's race. Only 1 race to go after this, and that's the Talladega Superspeedway next week, also the final race of the season. So anything can happen there, but Everett Lane coming into tonight's race looking up at Dale Smalley, 27 points back, and now he finds himself a lap down in 18th. Not what he wanted to see.
And the points in the chase definitely not locked up by any stretch of the imagination. Dale Smalley is your leader right now. Dale Smalley running in the top 10. Nathan Sedlak, who we saw contact be made with on that to bring out the caution flag, he's only 3 points behind your leader, Dale Smalley. Michael Johnson, Everett Lane, both 27 points back. Travis Brown, 28 points back. And Dallas Miracle, the man currently running outside, he's currently in position number 6. 31 points behind.
The 32 machine of Ryan Borges with trouble has accidentally stalled the car and has to get back to the pit lane to get that refired, and he lost power on the back straightaway and is coasting down the pit lane and is going to drop from outside of the top 10 all the way to the back, and could possibly lose a lap depending on how far his pit lane is down that pit road after, again, accidentally stalling that car, and they can't refire these things under their own control. They have to have the team do that. So developing story here, the 32 of Ryan Borges is stalled the car. He's down the pit lane now trying to get it refired, but the field is starting to work their way back around, and he may lose a lap here depending on how long this takes.
He is still continuing to run down pit road very, very slowly. Ryan Borges not finding his stall anytime soon. He's going to need some help to get that car refired. Double file restart this time by. Lights are off. So in any event, Ryan Borges will lose the position. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car will come down to the safety of pit road. This time by Dallas Miracle in charge of the field. Gary Bauer, Salicardi, Nathan Sedlak, your top four. Michael Johnson, Ben Manning, Travis Brown, Ross Cato, Dale Smalley, and Galen Gidman rounding out your top 10. Ryan Borges, Michael Whitlock, and Everett Lane all one lap down. They're going to be competing for the lucky dog should another yellow flag come out, which I've got a feeling we're not done seeing caution flags. Pace car is off. Dallas Miracle once again in control of the field. Green flag flies, and here comes Dallas Miracle. He's got the jump immediately on his bumper, though. Salicardi, he wants a piece of the wing. He wants a piece of the lead.
Caught sleeping was the 07 on the outside. That's Bauer, two cars around him. The 35 of Sedlak around the top lane as they continue to shuffle going into the 3. Michael Johnson with the advantage on Bauer. Bauer pushes up the track and gets in. 2-1 racing machine there. That is the 67 of Ben Manning. Manning on the top is able to hang on after contact in 3 and 4. And Bauer's going to get that spot. Now the 69 of Smalley around the 67 as well going into 3.
Ben Manning not where he wanted to be. He's going to give up a lot of position. Meanwhile, Dale Smalley, your points leader, goes from 7th to 6th. Nathan Sedlak continues to sit in 3rd behind them. It's a swap to 07 of Gary Bauer. Gets past the 78 machine of Michael E. Johnson. Michael Johnson will drop now down to the 5th place position. Dale Smalley in position number 6. Back up front, there's a change for the lead. The 39 machine of Salicardi has gotten around the 48 of Dallas Miracle on the back stretch. Going down the oval now. The 39 machine has the lead officially on paper. Dallas Miracle, though, immediately on his bumper. He's not going to lose, or he's not going to want to give away that position. He is not going to want to lose it.
Yeah, Cardi made that pass on the front straightaway. Dallas Miracle rode that outside wall down the front stretch like everybody does, but Cardi got the runoff 4, stepped down to the inside, had the inside lane in 1. Dallas Miracle moved up to the racetrack to give them some room so that they didn't get caught up in anything, and Cardi was able to finally make that pass down the back straightaway. However, Dallas Miracle in the 48 right now sitting P2. He's not letting them get anywhere, only 2 car lengths off the back bumper and just over a 1/10 of a second differentiating those two, but they have pulled away for the rest of the field. The car in 3rd place is Nathan Sedlak in the 35. He's just about 2 seconds back, and he has company because the 07 of Gary Bauer is trying to close in on him for 3rd, coming off of 4th.
The 18 machine of Jay Anderson in position number 10 almost lost it and got to the 88 of Michael Churchma. That's going to, he's locked up the brakes, almost turned it sideways. The 88 of Michael Churchma will get around. He is going to go in position number 10. Jay Anderson drops to position number 11, and now here comes the 33 of Travis Brown. He wants to make some moves out there, but he's not quite quick enough. The 18 machine of Jay Anderson looking like he's having some trouble out there, and that's going to cost him a lot of time on the field.
Dallas Miracle having some trouble bouncing off the wall. Lowell still changing position for 3rd. Gary Bauer has gotten around Nathan Sedlak, so he's now in 3rd, but is again 2 seconds away from this lead battle. The 48 of Miracle. We heard Alan Larson tell us that he got into the wall, and now he's starting to lose time on the car. Remember, he was about 2 car lengths off the back bumper and a 1/10 of a second, not letting him get away. He's now lost about half a second right now, sitting P2, trying to get back into rhythm.
Meanwhile, back for position number 8, it's Michael Churchma now easily getting around the 30 of Ross Cato. Churchma looks like he is a man on a mission right now after coming down pit road at least once. He's got a new wind in his sails, and the 88 machine driving as hard as he can to make stuff work here on the track at Richmond International Raceway. Still plenty of racing left to go. Lap 38, not even halfway yet, and so far, lots of things developing on track.
And definitely not a calm race for sure. Still everything going on all over the racetrack. Battles are always intense here in these open wheel race cars. Remember the last race that Cora is going to see with these Dallara Indy cars at the Richmond International Raceway. We close out the season with the trucks, and the next season it's all strictly NASCAR stock cars alternating week in and week out. Joel Wood in the 79 having some issues going into 3. He's going to allow the lap car of Everett Lane around him. He nearly got the wall, so the 79 of Joel Wood continuing to struggle to try to find a handle on that race machine now, as Dale Smalley is going to get around the 78 of Michael Johnson for 5th.
Salacardi holding on to the lead now, 1.37 seconds and change over Dallas Miracle and Company. Gary Bauer 3rd, Nathan Sedlak 4th, and Dale Smalley breaks into the top 5 for the first time tonight. He's trying to hunt down Nathan Sedlak. He is trying to increase his points lead over Sedlak. Remember, only 3 points separate Dale Smalley and Nathan Sedlak for the lead in the Sunday Money Driver Chase for the championship. So Dale Smalley needs to catch Nathan Sedlak if he wants to continue his points lead. And Nathan Sedlak, all he has to do to cut in the lead is finish 1 position ahead of Dale Smalley.
And definitely continuing to battle Salacardi on the outside, trying to get around some lap traffic there on the inside lane. Going to do so well here in turn 1 and leave that now to Gary Bauer, who's in 2nd, because something is wrong with the 48 of Miracle. Again, we heard that he got into the wall, and he has since gone from Monacardi's back bumper to in excess of 2 seconds back. And again, now Gary Bauer has gotten through to the 2nd spot, so Dallas Miracle in the 48 is going to want to come down pit road and try to get that repair here. He needs a caution because he's just continuing to lose time now as you take a look on board with that 48, looking up at Gary Bauer in the 07 as he starts to fade away into the distance.
Starting to fade away, but he's continuing to drive as hard as he can. Miracle trying to stay in the footprint of the 807 machine of Gary Bauer, but just not fast enough. Miracle may have a little damage that he did not anticipate, which could be holding him back like a big old parachute. Gary Bauer, however, not wasting any time trying to get around the 38 of Mark McFadden. McFadden does not want to continue to go a lap down. He does not want to continue to lose it. He's going to try to stay and fight as hard as he can. Gary Bauer not looking to push the issue right this moment as he can doze. There's still plenty of racing to go. Over halfway done. Salacardi in the lead. Mark McFadden now getting passed by your 2nd place driver, Gary Bauer.
And how about Gary Bauer in the 07 has closed the distance that Cardi has had on that 2nd place car from 2 seconds to 1.5, now 1.6, as Gary Bauer had to work his way around that lap traffic, but he is definitely fast as another lap traffic car gets in the wall off 2, trying to stay out of his way. But Gary Bauer could challenge here for that race victory if we see a long green flag run. Not a lot of laps left in this thing. Taking a look at race leader Salacardi this time by. He's going to get 40 laps to go as he continues to masterfully work around lap traffic. Sitting there in the 39 P1 now, starting to extend his lead over Gary Bauer in 2nd again.
40 laps to go once they cross the line. Dallas Miracle now starting to catch the field. He took off a 1/10 of a second on the lead, and he's now only half second away from Gary Bauer. In fact, Dallas Miracle, you can see Gary Bauer in his sights. If you go on board the 48 machine, you can see just how close they are. The 07 now having to face a little bit of pressure from that 48 of Dallas Miracle. Those 2 drivers still could compete. Miracle did get the help from the traffic pushing him, but is he strong enough to run on his own, and can he get back to the back wing of the 07 machine of Gary Bauer? Joel Wood, the next one to go, 1 lap down as he gets past Salacardi, now about to put the 11 of Edward Smith 1 lap down as well. 12 cars remain on the lead lap as Salacardi burying cars as fast as he can.
And definitely it's now 1.4 seconds. Now only a second that holds Bauer back from McCarty, but this lap traffic and sometimes too wide is pretty crazy, and you just got to keep your foot in it and keep going if you want to be able to do this quickly. And that's what a track that's only 3/4 of a mile in length does to these lead lap guys, is contact now on the racetrack.
Nathan Sedlak making contact now. Looks like with a 69 to Dale Smalley. Dale Smalley using the chrome wing, the wing horn,
Smith
if you will, to get around him. More contact on the field.
Edward Smith into the outside wall and around on the front straightaway in the grass. He kept it out of the inside wall, but he is on the hook going down the pit road. No caution.
No caution out. Edward Smith now down to the attention of his crew. He's going to need to use another reset to try to get back out there. Meanwhile, back up front, Dale Smalley is cleared. Nathan Sedlak without any incident whatsoever. Dale Smalley now in 4th, hoping to hunt for position number 3. Dale Smalley, your points leader, strong right now, and if he can finish in front of Nathan Sedlak, he will increase his points lead going into Talladega in 1 week's time.
And that's all that he can ask for going to a track like Talladega, the real shootout race. Obviously, this one could be considered, the shootout race, and these Indy cars at this track, an interesting combination, but for sure nothing takes away from a good old race at Talladega. And Dale Smalley just wants as big of a point lead as he can going into that race to try to get yet another championship here with Cora. It's almost trouble in front of Smalley as the lap car gets real loose. But the real question is, Gary Bauer, he is there. He's getting up there on Salicardi now, only 7/10 back.
Ryan Borges goes down pit road. He is more than a lap down as he's starting to see different strategies play out on this field. I don't know if they're going to have to come down to pit road anytime soon, but we're going to see how they manage it as the race starts to wind down. Salicardi now is still in control. 30 laps to go at this juncture. Edward Smith coming off pit road. Dale Smalley works his way into the top three now as it looks like Dallas Miracle was forced to at least come down pit road, or he's just dropping through the field. Dallas Miracle on pit road.
The Dallas Miracle in the 48 coming down the pit lane to the attention of his crew here late in the going, makes a stop in his pit stall, stops a little bit early, has to correct that and get those back tires over the black line and get into his stall, making a pit stop. Came in with radio, sounded pretty calm about it, so not sure if a scheduled pit stop or trouble. Remember, he did get in the wall, and he's been trying to get that fixed, so this could just be that, but he's definitely going to lose a lap and go all the way back to outside of the top 14 now, actually 14th place on the racetrack right now. Meanwhile, we're bumper to bumper up front. Gary Bauer in second place is looking to the inside of Accardi, going into one. Can't get it done, but he's only 2 car lengths off him.
Only 2 car lengths off him, and Salicardi and Gary Bauer both have almost 4 seconds on Dale Smalley right now. These guys may have to come down pit road. We've already saw a lot of guys come down pit road earlier, so these guys may be forced to come down pit road eventually. 0739 now side by side, going into turns 1 and 2. The 39 still has a run, but the 07 knows he can get it if he can stay with on the 07. Once again, onto the 39. It's a drag race down the front stretch, and Salicardi will hold on to it, but not by a whole lot. 0.03 of a second as the 07 now has the run, gets the push, and he will get in front of the 36. Caution on the field. Salicardi or Gary Bauer will be your leader.
Dale Smalley is in the wall, the championship leader with hard contact. 4 cars are in it, and the caution flag is out, and the plot twists yet again as Dale Smalley getting contact with the number 11 machine of Edward Smith, who is 6 laps down. Both of them going around, and Dale Smalley, huge impact, damaging the 69 machine. The 48 goes into the wall as well. That is Dallas Miracle, another championship contender. So 4 cars involved in that, but most importantly, championship leader Dale Smalley is in it. And Gary Bauer is now going to be sitting P1 on the field, and now they're all going to come down pit lane. At least Bauer is, Accardi is, and Sedlex can come down as well. So all the leaders going to hit the pit lane here, but an interesting wreck, and that changes the plot yet again.
That changes the entire complexion of the race as you watch everyone come down pit road to the attention of their crews, look for fuel and maybe some tires for each of these Dallara Indy cars. I want to look back at this incident, though, because here's the question that I have, and this could change the impact and ultimately affect the points as we move forward. The 69 and 11 made contact. You can make an argument for the 11 going into the 69. You can make an argument for the 69 getting up into the 11 machine. You can also make the argument that the 11 was a lap down and didn't need to be competing for position, considering you have 2 chasers immediately behind him. The big question that's on my mind as you watch a replay, as we watch the replay in a moment's time, what's going to be on my mind is who is the penalty going to be on and who's going to be forced to restart from the back of the field.
When you look at that, it looks like it's the 69 of Smalley that goes up. However, you also have to keep in mind that typically it's going to be the car on the outside lane that will be running up against the outside wall. Edward Smith being 6 laps down, you think that he'd be all the way up there, up against the inside wall, trying to give Dale as much room as possible. He was definitely a little lower than he should have been, but it was Smalley going up, probably anticipating the 11 to be higher on the racetrack, and that could also be another deciding factor in this race, Joe.
More bad news, though, for Dallas Miracle as he crab walks all the way down pit road and has to burn one of his 2 resets tonight. He will currently being scored right now in position number 13. Dale Smalley, no worse for the wear. He is in position number 9. And this is where I turn to our resident expert, Alan Larson. When the officials look at these incidents and when these officials assign them for incident, for who the incident was on, how is that determined, and how do the officials make that determination so quickly?
Well, we normally have 4 people in the tower, and we ask everybody to look at it, and the majority rules. That's basically to make it fair. We just have to, kind of have everybody look at it, and everybody shares their opinion, and the majority of the people that agree is the way the call goes.
So a lot of eyes that are going to be on that, and whatever they decide tonight could have a huge effect on the points lead and the point situation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's it's definitely going to be an interesting call to see which way they call that, because if they call it on Dale, I'm sure he's not going to be a happy camper.
And Dallas Miracle now going 2 laps down as a result of that incident. He's not going to be a happy camper as well, going from leading this race to having to fight his way back. 1 to go this time around. It was Joel Wood getting the Lucky Dog Award that time by. Now on the front pole, everything's shaken up. Michael Churchma will be at the top end of this field. Ben Manning will be on the outside of him. Michael Johnson, Galen Gidman, row number 2. Ross Gato, Gary Bauer, row number 3. Sal Accardi, Nathan Sedlak, row number 4. Jay Anderson and Dale Smalley, row number 5. Lots of talent now rising to the top as time running short here at Richmond International Raceway. Michael Churchma will restart lap 72. It'll be 29 to go when we go green flag racing. Dale Smalley did get the penalty. He's going to be forced to start from the end of the field. Caution flag is extended, so that number 69 machine can go to the tail end of the field. Dale Smalley is going to pay big for that incident.
Definitely the caution flag having to be extended because those officials were probably deliberating up to the last second on who to give it to. But in the end, I believe the right call was made. 69 Dale Smalley managed to keep himself on the lead lap, but he's going to have to go to the back of the pack, and we know with these cars that's not the safest place to be for sure, trying to work your way back up through there. So we're going to be getting that green flag this time by Michael Churchma. Ben Manning are going to be sitting on the front row. We're going to do split screen here. We'll go on board with Smalley there at the back of the pack and see what the view is like from him as we go through 3.
18 to go when we go to the green flag. Michael Churchma up front, Dale Smalley at the tail end of the field. Now Dale Smalley has to claw his way through. Let's watch what he does as the green flag flies. Churchma gets the jump on the low end, and already bad restart for the 57 machine. Big wrecking back. 39 involved, Joel Wood involved, Sal Accardi, Dallas Miracle involved, Ryan Borges involved in that one. Big incident.
They piled him in there, and Dale Smalley gets involved in the incident, and that's exactly what we were hoping that we did not see, and it is so. Dale Smalley's going to get in it, looking like it started with the 07 of Gary Bauer, spinning the tires, or a checkup in front of him, tried to get on the brakes, and that thing went sideways, collected some cars, and they just completely blocked the racetrack. And Dale Smalley, even despite how far back he was, just ran out of room, and a race car came down the racetrack, came sliding down the track. That was Nathan Sedlak, got into him. So Smalley is going to get involved in it again, and we're under yellow.
And this is exactly what you're talking about earlier, Evan, with these cars just being so fragile and so touchy, going through that first group, going through those first gears, that makes those cars very hard to handle when they start going. And, you saw it just happen there with Gary Bauer. He hit it too hard. He spun the wheels and ended up causing a major incident.
And definitely, so now under the yellow again, several drivers that have been fast, including Sal Accardi down on the pit lane. Ross Cato's down there as well. Gary Bauer, Dale Smalley, all going down to get their fixes. Now Dale Smalley's down there. I do believe this is his second quick fix on the night, though, so he can't get involved in anything else now.
That might be his final reset for the night, so Dale Smalley will be in big trouble. He needs to figure out how to get it done. Even in bigger trouble is Nathan Sedlak in the 35 machine, restarting 11th, coming into tonight's race. Caught the number 35 of Nathan Sedlak, who was second in points behind Dale Smalley, 3 points behind. He's going to lose a lap to Dale Smalley, so Dale Smalley now is in a great position to extend his points lead.
And definitely, just like what we saw last week, it looks like things were going to be tilted in the favor of everybody but Smalley. A mid-race incident collected our leaders, and that's how Smalley has the race lead at this point. And now, again, the plot thickens even more as Dale Smalley, involved in back-to-back incidents. The car in second place has done the same thing, but now he has lost a lap. And with just over 25, just under rather, 25 laps to go on this thing. I don't think we're done seeing the yellows, and this thing can still shake out pretty strange.
Lights are off, should be off this time around. We should be back to green flag racing in just a moment. Michael Churchman in control of the field. Michael Johnson in second. Galen Kidman fourth. Mark McFadden now in the top six. Salicardi, Ross Cato, Dale Smalley, and Joel Wood rounding out your top 10 on the field. It will be 2 to go this time around. I stand corrected. Michael Churchman looking for a renaissance, as well as Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson 27 points back. He can't walk away with the points lead outright as a result of a good finish here. But if he can finish in front of both Nathan Sedlak and Dale Smalley, which might not be that difficult to test for him, he could have an excellent boost to his points, ultimately challenging for the lead.
And definitely, that's all that you can really look for. Again, these restarts, it's only going to get more interesting here. I don't think we're done with the yellow flags the way that this racing is going to be as we come now and get the white flag here. Michael Johnson sitting up there in the second spot along with Michael Churchman in first. If those guys stay up in front of there and out of that mess behind them, they could be in the best spots right now moving forward.
Definitely could be in an excellent position. Michael Churchman, Michael Johnson on the top row. Ben Manning, Galen Gidman, second row. Jay Anderson, Mark McFadden, third. Salicardi, Ross Cadro, row number 4. And the last 2 drivers on the lead lap, Dale Smalley and Joel Wood, rounding out the top 10. Travis Brown, the lucky dog that time by. He will be in position number 11 on the field. Richmond International Raceway about to be a very busy place to do business. It'll be 12 to go when we're back to green flag racing. Michael Churchman, Michael Johnson, both looking for a points boost. Green flag flies, and here comes Churchman, almost losing it behind him. Co-drivers look like they lost it on the grass. Ben Manning in his more trouble. There's more trouble. Mark McFadden involved. It looks like the 39 of Salicardi involved. Yellow out once again. Salicardi involved in another incident, and now more trouble on the track. The plot gets even thicker.
They were looking, and a car was sideways in front of them. They were trying to avoid that. That was Ben Manning, and it looked like Accardi was maybe trying to make a move on a car in front of him, but just went straight up the racetrack and just drove into Mark McFadden, and they are both in the wall. Accardi up in the catch fencing, again under the yellow flag, and again another car, 2 cars that have been dominant all night long are in the fence and are going to be down the pit lane. And again, that's just a product of this racing. We heard it when we talked to Galen Gidman earlier in the show. You can pretty much ride around at the back and still get a good finish. He's in the 04 machine, and he's sitting third right now.
Galen Kidman sitting in a very good place, not only to get a little bit of a payday out of tonight's race, but to improve his positioning in the chase here at Richmond International Raceway. Salicardi will go heavy into the catch fence and will have to use one of his resets to get back on the field. The big benefactor, though, is the 35 of Nathan Sedlak. He's currently scored the highest car 1 lap down, not involved in an incident, so Nathan Sedlak could get his lap back and be once again challenging your leaders for position and for points here at Richmond International Raceway. Pace car lights will be on for quite a little bit here. Alan Larson, these guys, we talk about points all night, but top 3 will walk away with those big prizes. Aside from being champion, what do the top 3 get in points after this season is all said and done?
For prize money, I believe the top 3, it's 125. I'd have to check our website, but I think it's 125, 75, and 45, if I'm not mistaken.
2 to go now on the track, so it's a lot of money that we're looking at right now. This isn't just a weekend chump change. You have a good season, you have consistently good runs, and you could very easily increase your return of investment here at the Championship Online Racing Association.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you finish, consistently finish in the top 5 every week. I mean, you could really make some money here.
Alan Larson, in your 3 starts, I don't see a top 10 finish for you, but it doesn't mean to say that you won't have one next week when we go to Talladega.
Oh, you can guarantee I'll have one next week when we go to Talladega. Mark my words.
You heard it here first on LSR TV. Alan Larson already dropping the gauntlet to the entire Cora group. He will be there, and he will be the man to beat. Nathan Sedlak going around the pace car. It'll be one more before the pace car lights are off, and we're back to green flag racing. Michael Churchman, Michael Johnson, probably the 2 drivers in the best place to be tonight.
I think the really benefactor out of this last caution was Dale Smalley. Look at that. He's back up to 6th place.
Dale Smalley back up to 6th place, but he's also in a fragile position now, and he's used both of his resets.
Yeah, that's true too. But if he can continue to carry that horseshoe that he's been carrying for this season, he might have a chance here.
Race control giving final instructions to these drivers as this will be our final attempt at a restart. We will go with 6 to go when the green flag comes out, and now Michael Johnson having some electrical problems, blinks out, blinks back on the track. One more pace lap to go before we're back. It'll be 6 laps to go when the green flag flies, and this should be our final attempt at a green flag finish, though I've got a strange feeling we may not see it just due to very competitive, very heavy driving. Michael Churchma, Michael Johnson on the front row, Galen Gidman, Jay Anderson, Ross Cato, your top 5, and now the pace car goes off for what should be the final time. Michael Churchma gets them on their feet. He is restarting, and we are back on the race. 6 to go. Churchma, Johnson, side by side going into turn number 1.
Everybody trying to sort things out. 3 and 4 wide at the back, but all eyes are on that number 1 spot as now we're single file going into turn number 3. The 78 of Michael Johnson in second. Now he has company with the 04 of Galen.
Trouble. Edward Smith in the wall. Edward Smith in the wall. The 07 of Gary Bauer also heavy damage. A 35 of Nathan Sedlak getting a piece of that base car should come out this time, and that should be the race.
Yeah, they got trouble there down the backstretch, got involved in it, and those were the guys that were 3-4 wide on the restart there. Can't hang on to it. Galen Gidman can't get a shot at going for the win, and it's going to be the 88 of Michael Churchman to victory lane.
Pace car lights are on. Pace car is on the field. It is officially over as Gary Bauer continues to barrel roll down on the stretch. Gary Bauer now flipped upside down. His night officially over after that heavy contact. The race now of all intents and purposes over as the pace car lights are on. This race will end under caution. Michael Churchman projected to be your winner. Galen Gidman now sitting in second. Michael Johnson third. Ross Cato, Jay Anderson fourth and fifth. Dale Smalley in fifth. Sixth, I should say. Ben Manning, Travis Brown, Joel Wood, Nathan Sedlak finishing in the top 10. Dale Smalley finishes ahead of Nathan Sedlak. Smalley will continue to hold on to the points lead, but not by a whole lot.
So how about that? After getting involved in 2 wrecks back-to-back, Dale Smalley still is going to walk home with a 6th place finish and solid. Michael Johnson, Michael Churchma, they're going to finish ahead of him and make up some points. However, you mentioned that he did finish in front of the car, sitting in the 2nd position in the championship standings. That is Nathan Sedlak in 10th. So Smalley is going to hang that point lead going into Talladega next week. But man, that's going to be a shootout as well.
Michael Churchma is sitting 8th in points, 34 points behind your leader. He will pick up some major points. Galen Gidman, 68 points behind your leader in 12th in the chase. Galen Gidman will pick up some very valuable points. May not get the championship win, but still in competition for some money here in the Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series. Michael Johnson, he's the man who will be the biggest benefactor out of all that. Coming into tonight's race, 27 points behind leader Dale Smalley with a big finish over him, 3 positions. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it might be enough to cut down some of that lead, at least potentially get in front or around Nathan Sedlak and solidify 3rd, if not jump into 2nd.
Out of the 18 cars that started this race, the top 10 finished on the lead lap, and all those guys are going to be going to the bank. Also, right now, as the field comes out of turn number 4, coming to take the white flag for Michael Churchman to in the number 1 spot, the 88 machine just needs to make it around one more circuit and to finish this thing off and get that checkered flag. Galen Gidman, Michael Johnson running up the top 3 as well.
Michael Churchma, Galen Gidman, Michael E. Johnson, your top 3. All those drivers in the chase, all those drivers looking for a big payday and hopefully the big trophy at the end. One more race in this series now that this one is coming to an end. That will be the trucks at Talladega, and that is going to be a very entertaining race you will not want to miss. That will decide the championship here in the Cora race. Michael Churchma about ready to cross the start-finish line. He's got two more turns to navigate, and Michael Churchwell will be the winner of the Berkey Painting and Sandblasting 135 at Richmond. Michael Churchwell finds a way to make it through, and Churchwell, your winner here at Richmond International Raceway for the Berkey Painting and Sandblasting 135.
A very, very interesting race. It's going to come down to it. Lots of cautions there at the back half of the race and the beginning half. Again, we took a look at the B-Main 6 drivers there vying for those 5 spots. It was a fairly good race, but I figured that once we saw all these guys get onto this track, going side by side, all trying to vie for one spot there, and you can't just let somebody go there in the top 3. You're going to have to eventually battle for it, and that's eventually what we saw when it came down to it, and Michael Churchma was able to stay out of harm's way, stay up there in the front, and avoid the mess behind him. And they were 3-4 wide going back to the green flag there at the very end, and it all came down to the restarts. Again, these cars very, very sensitive in getting through those gears, first, second, third gear. Very, very hard to do those, and we saw cars sideways pretty much on every single restart.
Let's go ahead and take a step away from the microphones for a moment. When we come back, you'll talk to your top 3 finishers, look at where the points sit, and get ready to go racing from Talladega in 1 week's time. Michael Churchwell, winner of the Berkey Sandblasting and Painting 135 from Richmond. We'll talk to him and your top 3 finishers when we come back to LSR TV.
Oh, is it me or you guys? Could you guys hear him? Rudy Combs, I couldn't really hear him. Not really.
Mics are hot.
135 miles, 90 laps completed in the Berkey Sandblasting and Painting 135, part of the Cora Championship Online Racing Association Sunday Money Series. Michael Churchwell, your winner. Galen Gidman coming in second. Michael Johnson third. Ross Cato, Jay Anderson, Dale Smalley, Ben Manning, Travis Brown, Joel Wood, and Nathan Sedlak rounding out your top 10. Sal Accardi, Everett Lane, Mark McFadden, Dallas Miracle, and Michael Whitlock, your top 15. Ryan Borges, Gary Maurer, and Edward Smith, the final drivers to finish here at Richmond International Raceway. Evan Pasoko is down on victory lane with our big winner tonight, walking away $50 richer is Michael Churchwell.
And that's right, and he's happy for sure. Michael, you started 19th in this field, 90 laps on the board. You really can't beat and bang it all in these open wheel race cars. How'd you make it happen, bud?
Oh, just kind of watched my P's and Q's through the whole race there. I know I could have qualified a little bit better than that. If not got the pole there, but I hit the wall on my white flag lap there and got a little contact about middle of the race there, so I had to go on and make my pit stop there and made it work. Picked one off at a time and come out winning first.
And then when it came down to it at the end there, where there was caution after caution, and you know that you really just had to stay out of the way, you're obviously sitting in the number one spot on those closing restarts, made it a lot easier, but we saw lots of guys have trouble on those restarts. Getting up through the gears, this car really wants to go anywhere but straight when you're doing so. How did you manage to get the jumps that you needed in order to stay out of trouble?
Yeah, these cars are really, really edgy when it comes to on the restarts. You just got to kind of ease your throttle in there, and you don't want to goose it, otherwise you'll spin right out on these things. They got outrageous acceleration, but I just did what I had to do there and come out on top.
And you finished in the number one spot, so you made up some points on the championship later. Dale Smalley points not quite updated yet, but you got to be looking forward to next week at Talladega to cap it all off. Obviously, that's a wild card race, so you can still get this championship for sure or improve, get to those top 3 in the points if you're not there out of tonight's race yet, and try to, take home some money at the end of the season. What are you looking forward to next week?
I'm going to try to. I love racing at Talladega. I know all the other competitors, Dale, Smalley, and everybody. He's really been a awesome competitor towards me, and I'm going to try doing my best. I'm going to try winning the race there too. So see what happens. I'll give you guys a heck of a show, though.
And if any sponsors, teammates, whoever you want to thank, the mic's all yours.
I've been teammates here with Storm Motorsports. My teammates they kind of missed out on this race here, but I like to give a shout out to them for kind of sticking by me here. That's pretty much all it. So, and thanks Cora and everybody that's up in the booth, and you guys have been doing an outrageous job.
And definitely, well, congratulations on your victory and good luck next week.
All right, thank you very much.
Joe, that is your race winner, Michael Churchman, the number 88 machine. He loves Talladega, and I'm sure he'd love to end up in Victory Lane next week. I do believe you're down there on the pit lane now with the driver of the 04, Galen Gidman.
Galen Gidman finding a way to make it work here at Richmond International Raceway, coming from from way back in the field all the way up to second place position. We talked to you in the pre-race show, Galen, and normally we call it the TV curse when we talk to somebody and they don't finish good, but the curse seems to have been reversed for you tonight, finishing in second.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. From now on, I think I'd like to do an interview pre-race, and we'll see if we can't finish second every week.
We'll definitely have to talk to your agent about that.
Definitely, we'll get this worked out. But yeah, it was a fantastic race. It was pretty fortunate in avoiding some of the carnage out there. Although it was a good race, and I thought we did a good job. It's a tough combination, but like we talked about pre-race. But I think all the drivers really did a good job, and really happy with how things ended up.
Definitely a great place when you can finish second on a very tough track. Lots of caution flags, though, especially at the very end. How hard was it navigating these very, very quick cars around this very short track?
Pretty hard. It was easily the hardest race we've had out here this year, and honestly, in all the qualifiers and practice sessions and everything, I was definitely down towards the bottom of the leaderboard, and I think by the time it was all said and done, that may have helped me, because the first 50, 60 laps, I was just learning how to do it consistent and fast, and where I was seeing a lot of guys fall off towards the end, I was running my, the longer we ran, the quicker I was. So I think it helped me save my stuff, stay out of some trouble, and kept me around for the end.
Galen, you started 13th on this field, so a lot of ways for you to climb through. What do you attribute it to? What do you attribute being able to climb through this field and ultimately get to the second place finish as a result? How were you able to make it work?
Well, our set was really stable. You gotta give that its proper attribution. They wouldn't a set that was just gonna randomly step out on you at any point. I saved my stuff early, just trying to be careful. And there's always a little bit of luck that goes into all this stuff, and I definitely drew from my bad luck bank last week with a really good car where I had connection issues, but this week maybe things turned around a little bit, and I was able to draw from the good luck bank.
Drawing from the good luck bank, and more importantly, being able to go to the bank, $30 in your pocket as a result of tonight's second place finish. That's always got to feel good.
Yeah, we can live with that.
1 week's time, it's a Barks Competition Karting Talladega 101 in the trucks. Alvar at Big Monster Talladega Super Speedway. What is your mindset going in? What are you thinking? And where are we going to see the 04 end up?
Well, in all likelihood, on its roof across the infield, knowing Talladega, but we'll see if we can't get Victory Lane out of it. At Dega, it's just all about getting a good fast set, getting good teammates that are going to work with you consistently all day, and then there's the whole, if you can avoid the big ones. So we're going to go out there and we're going to work on our set this week. I think we've got some good stuff to work with, and lots of fast friends. So maybe they'll do a little sharing, and we'll see if we can't get our whole team up there and maybe go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Galen
I mean,
Goodman,
you gotta go in there to win it.
absolutely always got to show up to the track ready to win, especially when you go to Talladega Superspeedway. Galen Goodman finishing second tonight. Before I let you go, buddy, any shout-outs you'd like to give? Anyone you'd like to thank? Microphone's all yours.
Absolutely. I want to thank, first off, Cora for putting this on. I want to thank my teammates, Nathan Sedlak, Ross Cato, Ben Manning. We've had some really, this whole chase, really good team effort, even leading up to it. We're getting stronger every week. Last week was our first win. We got a bunch of cars in the top 5, all the cars in the top 10 this week. A bunch of us are in the chase, so I really want to give a thank you to those guys. We're gaining force every week, and I'm enjoying it. And thank you to you guys in the broadcast booth for coming in here and putting up with us and giving the fans something good to watch.
Galen Goodman finishing second tonight here at Richmond International Raceway in the Berkey Painting and Sandblasting, 135. Good finish, buddy. We'll see you in 1 week's time at Talladega.
See you guys.
That's Galen Goodman finishing second in the 04 IndyCar. Let's go ahead and throw it over to Evan Pasoko, who's caught up with your third-place finisher, Michael Johnson.
And that's right, we're down here on the pit lane. Michael Johnson's going to be going to the bank with a solid podium finish, coming home in the number 3 spot. Michael, taking a look, first of all, at those closing laps in these Indy cars on a tight track like the Richmond International Raceway. How were you able to hang on to it and get third?
Just run consistent lap times. Galen said it perfectly. Try to save your stuff, save enough fuel. I think me not having to pit was a huge factor in the race tonight. That bumped me up a lot of positions. Just staying smooth, saving your stuff for the end. I want my first win so bad, but I'll take the third place.
Definitely third is solid because it's all about points. Enter tonight third at the championship standings, 27 back from Smalley. You beat him by about 3-4 spots. You're going to pick up some points on him for sure. And going into Talladega, anything can happen. So the championship is still within reach, knowing the kind of racing that Talladega brings to us. But again, we got to talk about these cars and these restarts. This is the last time that Cora, everybody here at the Championship Online Racing Association, is going to see something besides a NASCAR sanctioned stock car on the racetrack. What was it like racing these in comparison to what we said last week, which was those trucks at Charlotte?
These are very touchy. You have to stay on your toes the whole race. Stable setup or not, the car can, come out from underneath you at any given time, especially at this track. So you really have to stay on your toes, stay up on the wheel, and be as smooth through the turns as possible. Don't over-accelerate. Especially on the restarts, you got to be gentle with the throttle. Weight jacker definitely comes into a factor on a restart. Just stay smooth, and especially on a track like this, don't lose the car.
And definitely, and then we saw you went from second to third in the closing laps, and then the caution flew before you had a chance to get back at those guys. Do you think maybe that if we race this thing out all the way to lap 90 under the green flag, that you might have been able to sneak by those guys if they battled hard up front?
It was a possibility. That's what I was hoping for. Unfortunately, the caution fell. Had I not got loose and wanted to, it was a mistake by me that prevented me from finishing second. Nothing to take away from Galen there, great driver. But I made a mistake. I was hoping I could get back up to him, but caution fell. I'll take the third place, though. Always good when you finish on the podium.
And then again, looking forward to next week at the Talladega Super Speedway with that championship in reach. Do you race that race any differently, or do you just do it the way you do always and just try to get up front and win that thing?
I'm just going to try to do what I always do. Stay smooth, stay clean, and try to finish up front. Wins will come, I guess. So I would like to be up front, give that championship a run.
Well, definitely. Congrats on a solid top 3 finish. Any sponsors and teammates, anything you want to thank? The mic's all yours.
I'd like to thank Cora putting on a great event. They put on a great event every week with this Sunday Money and the Fast Lane Short Track Series. That's all great. Fast Lane, Everett D Lane, Joel Wood, thanks a bunch for your help with the setup. And thanks to you guys in the booth. You do a great job.
And definitely, well, again, congrats on a solid top 3 finish, and we hope to see you up there in Victory Lane 2 next week.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Joe, that's going to do it down here from the pit lane.
Festivities coming to an end here at Richmond International Raceway. I'm going to go over to our resident expert, Alan Larson, real quick. Alan, we saw a lot of fun racing, and this is going to be the last time we're going to see these Indy cars used during the chase. This has been a real special race for multiple reasons tonight. Alan Larson seems to have already checked out of the infield or the tower out there. He's already going to celebrate and get ready, his truck ready for Talladega in 1 week's time for the Barks competition. Karting Talladega 101 in the trucks. That's something you're not going to want to miss. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central here live on LSR TV. Great racing we saw tonight here at Richmond International Raceway. Michael Churchwell walking away with the win. Galen Kidman second. Michael Johnson third. Official points have not been turned in yet. Everything is unofficial, and I'm sure these officials are going to have a lot to figure out as they go through the race one more time. Michael Churchwell, your winner in the Berkey Waning and Sandblasting 135 at Richmond. When we go back to Green Flag Racing in 1 week's time, we'll be at Talladega for the finale of the Cora Sunday Money Series and at the Barks Competition Karting Talladega 101. Plenty of racing in those big trucks. You won't want to miss it. Until then, race fans, on behalf of our entire broadcast crew, my broadcast partner, Evan Pisoko, Cora's very own Alan Larson, our executive producer and camera operator, Laura Lawson, I am Joe Cortez. We will see you in 1 week's time when we go racing from Talladega. Until then, good night, everybody.